Hi everybody, this is Mr. Zoeller, and today I'm going to be presenting you a video screencast on the Founding Fathers of the United States Constitution. So let's take a look at what are you supposed to learn? What are the objectives for the video? So first, you should be able to explain the decisions that the delegates made at the start of the convention. Second, you should be able to name some of the important Founding Fathers at the Philadelphia Convention, also known as the Constitutional Convention, and describe their characteristics. Third, you should be able to name some Founding Fathers who did not attend the convention, explain why they did not attend, and lastly, you should be able to name some segments of the population that were not represented at this convention and suggest reasons why they weren't included. So first, let's take a look at who attended the Philadelphia Convention. So just to recap before we get started here, remember the first government that was created for the United States was the Articles of Confederation. And after the Revolutionary War is over and after Shays' Rebellion, there's going to be many Americans that are concerned that our national government does not have the strength to protect the rights of its citizens. And so the Congress is going to ask for a meeting to take place in Philadelphia in 1787 to discuss revising and changing the Articles of Confederation. So in the end, we're going to have 55 members, 55 delegates that are attending this meeting from almost all of the states, and most of them were very young. The average age was about 42, and then they were all white men, just kind of considering who everybody was that attended. So of the 55, we're just going to focus on a couple of them. All of them are very important. But first, let's start with James Madison. So Madison's from Virginia, which was the most powerful state at the time, and he's also known as the father of the Constitution. So a lot of the ideas that are in the United States Constitution are things that James Madison brought up during the convention. And so he brings a plan for creating a stronger national government, and we'll talk about that in the future. He also took detailed notes during the convention, and those notes today allow us to know what happened, because as you're going to find out that during this meeting, it was private, it was secret, so nobody on the outside knew what was actually going on. And then James Madison, of course, will be a future president of the United States too. This person most of you are familiar with, George Washington, also from Virginia. He led the Continental Army against the British during the Revolutionary War, so he's one of the most respected and honored men in America at that time. He also felt that we needed a stronger national government, but when he was asked to attend this meeting, he at first declined it because he felt like he had done enough for our nation, and he wasn't really interested in getting involved in politics. But eventually, he changed his mind and attended, just knowing that if he was showing up and others delegates were like, I don't know if I should attend, once they find out, oh, George Washington's going to be there, okay, this must be really important, I should be there too. And so he's going to be a big reason why people are going to be attending, because he's going to be there. Another important gentleman that's going to be there is Benjamin Franklin. So he was the oldest of the 55 delegates that was there. So he's from Pennsylvania, 81 years old. So remember, he had previously gone to been in Great Britain and in France representing the United States before and during the Revolutionary War. He's one of the most respected men in America, and his main role during the convention is to help the younger delegates to come to agreement and to cooperate with each other even when they disagreed, knowing that we need to have compromise when it comes to creating a stronger government for our country. And then lastly, we're going to have a gentleman from New York, Governor Morris. So he served on their state legislature. He served in the militia. He was a member of both Continental Congresses. He helped develop the Articles of Confederation. And he was a great speech maker. I think he spoke more than any other delegate during the convention. And he's going to play an important role in writing the final draft of the Constitution, kind of compressing it and putting it into 7 articles. And he's also the author of the preamble, the introduction to the preamble, which you guys will learn about in the future. So besides those that did attend, so those are just 4 of the 55 that attended, but who did not attend? Some famous Americans of history. So Thomas Jefferson, the main author of the Declaration of Independence, was not at this. He was representing the United States in France, so he was our ambassador to France. John Adams as well, so both of these gentlemen are future presidents of the United States. He also was an ambassador to Great Britain, so he's the first United States ambassador to Great Britain after the Revolutionary War. So you can kind of imagine what it would have been like for him to go and meet with King George III and representing the United States when we originally used to be their colonies. And then Patrick Henry, who was from Virginia, a strong supporter in liberty and the rights of the states, was also did not attend this convention because he felt that this wasn't really going to be a meeting to change the Articles of Confederation. Instead, he felt like the delegates there were going to get rid of it and create a stronger national government. And he was really worried about that. So he's quoted as saying, "I smell a rat," saying that he thinks that what they're saying is going to happen isn't going to happen. And so after the Constitution is approved at this convention, he's going to be an anti-federalist, somebody arguing against this Constitution. He's worried it's too strong and it's going to take away the rights of the people. And he strongly believed in protecting the rights of the people. So what other groups did not attend this convention? So there are no women that are attending. There's no African Americans, no American Indians. And then, the big event that sparks this meeting is Shays' Rebellion. So we don't have any poor farmers that are attending either. So most of these men are wealthy, some are not. But they're all, they aren't from all of these different groups. And then the one state that did not send any delegates was Rhode Island. So Rhode Island felt that the Articles of Confederation was fine and didn't need to be changed, so they didn't feel that any delegates needed to attend. So when we have the 55 delegates representing every state, it would be every state except Rhode Island. So what rules did the Founding Fathers agree to follow during the convention? So they came up with a few things. So first, this is going to start on May 25th, 1787, and it's going to run through the entire summer in Philadelphia. And so by that time, we have delegates from 11 states had arrived. They agreed that the person who should lead this convention should be George Washington. So he's going to be presiding. So he's going to be the one enforcing the rules, letting people know when they can talk, how long they have to until they vote, what they need to do. So he's going to be the person in charge during the convention. They did agree on three things at the start of the convention. So first, it was decided that even though the Congress had asked them to meet to change the Articles of Confederation, James Madison and others convinced most of them that, you know what, the Articles of Confederation is too weak. It has too many flaws, so we can't fix it. So we need to start over. So thinking back to kind of the words of Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence, that when any form of a government becomes destructive of these ends, protecting the rights, and the people have the right to alter or abolish that government. So instead of altering the Articles of Confederation, the delegates have decided that they're going to abolish it and create a new one. So they're going to create a new constitution. So remember, a constitutional government is just a government that has limited powers with that. They also agreed they would keep a record of what was said and written down. And they also agreed that that record would not be shared for at least 30 years. So that would allow every delegate there to be able to speak their mind and not be persuaded by the public. So they all promised to secrecy, that whatever they said during this convention, and then when they left to go to an inn or a home, wherever they're staying afterwards, they would not talk to anybody about it. So there would be no newspapers be aware of it, their family, their friends. It was all supposed to be private so that everybody could freely express what they believed and do what was best for the nation and not be persuaded by outside forces or the public. And they also decided that when it came time to voting for what would go into the Constitution and not, that every state would get one vote. And so that was something that the states with smaller populations like Delaware really wanted to have. What ideas about government did the Founding Fathers agree to include in the new Constitution? So they had 5 different things they wanted to include. So first, they believed that the national government should be a constitutional government, meaning it has limits on power and that it's a written framework and it states exactly what the powers of the government are. So I always like to think of it like as an instruction manual of how the government works. They also believe that the purpose of government is to protect the rights of the people and promote the common good. And they felt like the Articles of Confederation obviously did not do that because the national government was too weak and the states had most of the power. So they believed that we needed to create a stronger national government to protect the rights of the people. When it came to what form of government, they decided we needed a republican form of government, like a republic, like a Roman Republic, going back to that, which means that they're going to be elected representatives of the people, and then that would help promote the common good, which is, remember, one of their goals. So the people themselves would get to elect who would represent them in government. They had that when they were in the colonies, and they believed that was still important for this national government. And then the other part is making sure the government doesn't take away the rights of the people, and that the government doesn't have too much power. So they also agreed there needed to be a separation of powers, different branches of government, which you guys will learn about in the future, and checks and balances, so that one part of the government, in order to accomplish something, another part of it has to approve it. So that way, there isn't any part of the government that has too much power. So that's all I have for you about the founding fathers of the United States Constitution. And in future videos, we'll learn about what did they create. So this is Mr. Zoeller. Have a good day. Bye-bye.